Dr. Cari here, and again I am outside, and I am outside because it is a gorgeous day, and to be inside just doesn't excite me. So I wanted to make these videos for you, so I am doing them outside. So you might hear the birds chirping, you might hear cars driving by, the wind might be blowing, but it is just so lovely. And when we're taking care of our hormones, one of the things that's really important to take care of is our emotional state of being, our emotional well-being. So doing something simple like bringing your video outside when you got to make videos can really help with that. So today we're going to talk about perimenopause, and this is something that I have just gone through. As of this month, I am officially in menopause. Woohoo! And I got the experience of learning that perimenopause can be a really tricky time. And the way that I learned this was I was seeing this practitioner in Ithaca, New York. Yes, I will fly to different parts of the country to get medical support. When I was really sick, I would do that because I wasn't finding doctors locally that were able to help me. So I flew to Ithaca, New York to see a practitioner, and he recommended that I go to one of those detox centers. They're not my favorite things, I have to be honest with you, and I have a reason for that. There's certain patients that could be good for, but in general, I much prefer a much gentler lifestyle detox rather than a harsh, week-long detox. But sometimes it's necessary. However, so here I decided to go. I was feeling pretty good, and I had put on a little bit of weight. Part of my journey was being very underweight. So I'd put on a little weight, and I decided to go to this detox center like he recommended. If you're not going to listen to your doctors, what's the point, right? So here I am at this detox center, and we are doing wheatgrass up every orifice, and we're eating only vegetables, nothing else. We're having no added salts, and we're exercising every day, and we're saunaing. And the whole process, I lost 10 pounds in a week. I got severely dehydrated, and I started really struggling with my mental function. Because what I didn't realize at the time was that although wheatgrass doesn't have gluten in it, you could be cross-reacting to it. And they kept telling me I was having a detox reaction. But at the point that I looked at a clock and I couldn't comprehend what it meant, the big hand was on the 12, the little hand was on the 8, and I stood there and I was like, what does that mean? That's when I went, wait, there's something wrong here. The reason I'm telling you this story was that harsh shift. I think at the time 47, that harsh shift on my body where I lost weight drastically and I was being exposed to something that my body was reacting to created such stress in my body that it sort of catapulted me into perimenopausal syndrome. Perimenopause is a natural time when our hormones start to shift. And in and of itself, it can be a little bumpy, but when you add a lot of stress on the system at the same time, that can really send you into perimenopausal syndrome. And perimenopausal syndrome is, difficulty sleeping and night sweats and hot flashes. But what I didn't know until I experienced it, that it also can be serious emotional changes. I, for the first time in my life, experienced anxiety. I had never had anxiety. I thought if you were having an anxiety attack, you could just breathe your way out of it. Now, breathing does help you get through it, but it's just not that simple. It's actually a neurochemical response going in the body. And while it's happening, other than just, riding it out, there's not a whole lot in that very immediate moment we can do to control it. Now, it was really important for me to experience because I work with a lot of people with anxiety. So now I have empathy for what they're going through. But what had happened was, on top of, all the stress that was created on my system from the detox and from the gluten reactivity to the wheatgrass, my hormones got really taxed. And they got really taxed because as your stress level goes up during this time, your hormone instability goes up as well. And so I developed claustrophobia. I couldn't go into bathrooms that had no windows. I remember walking into an office, and you had to walk into a hallway, and it turned, and there was another hallway and turned, and you never saw the end. I walked in and I had to turn around and walk out. And I actually didn't know this was a perimenopausal symptom until one of my clients came in and said, I'm experiencing this claustrophobia thing, and I read online it was a perimenopausal symptom. And I was like, really? I didn't say anything to her because, I'm supposed to be the one who knows. But in school, they taught us about hot flashes and crankiness and sleep problems. They did not talk about these severe, psychological shifts that can happen in the brain. Now, I'm happy to say I don't have that anymore. But when I did, it was pretty distressing. And I don't have it anymore because once I realized it was hormones, I started making changes to support myself, and I don't have those symptoms anymore. So if you're experiencing symptoms, the first thing to know is that there's help. So it's really important that we know there's help, because we can literally feel like we're going crazy. I'm on Facebook groups for menopause, and you're not supposed to do any self-promoting, which I wouldn't do. But I stopped reading them because it was so painful for me to hear what these women were going through without being allowed to offer suggestions, because there's so much you can do, and you do not have to be suffering. So that's the most important thing I want you to understand in this video today, that you're not alone, that there's a lot you can do to support yourself, and you don't have to just suffer through. One of the things that's really important to know, because a lot of women aren't sure whether they're in perimenopause or not, is if you're in your 40s and you're having some weird new symptoms, that you probably are. It's probably playing a role. And working with a practitioner to help balance you out that knows how to work with perimenopause is super important. During this time, like I did, going and doing drastic detoxes or taking harsh herbal supplements to try to get rid of infections can really throw us off. And you have to be working with somebody who understands that and knows how to protect the hormones simultaneously while you're getting rid of the infections. It's really important that you get rid of the infections, because if you're a person who's tried all the herbal support out there and it's not working, it's because the imbalance is being driven by some internal stressors that you're unaware of. The other thing to know about perimenopause is the last symptom sometimes is irregular menses. So just because your menses are regular, you're probably in perimenopause. And let me give you another secret. If your daughter is driving you nuts and you just want to kill her, you're probably in perimenopause. If your marriage is struggling, then you're likely in perimenopause. So you want to make sure that you identify all the different factors so that you don't have to just be out there suffering and feeling like you're going crazy. Unexplained weight gain can be a sign of perimenopause. It can be other things, but it can be a sign of perimenopause. During the perimenopausal years, we can stop converting T4 into T3 and get a subtle underlying low T3 level, and most doctors don't test for T3, that can be driving things like depression and unexplained weight gain. Those were some of the things I experienced, and my numbers were just slightly low, but I got in a little bit of nutritional support and it completely balanced it out. So the first and most important thing is to checking out and seeing whether or not you feel like you're in perimenopause. Look in your life. Are you angry often? Are you frustrated at your partner? Are you struggling with your children? Are you struggling at work? If things just feel more intense and you're in your 40s, you're probably in the change, and getting yourself some support might help. Are you having trouble sleeping? Are you starting to gain weight around your belly? These are all things. Are your cycles varying? Not even in length, but in intensity. Like 1 month you're getting cramps, the next month you're that. Are you not? Are you getting same thing with breast tenderness? Are things changing in your cycle where it's just different than it used to be? These can all be signs that you're in perimenopause and you want to get support it as soon as possible. So this video has been a little bit long. So what I'm going to do is pause here, and then we'll go ahead and we'll be sending out another video that talks about actually what's going on hormonally and some of the things that you can do to support yourself.